Hey, real quick before we get to this with the therapist, I was listening to Bros and Shows, and remember we were talking about how Kelly said you better ask your pill popping roommate, and we were like, who's she talking about, the husband or the mother? She was talking to Phaedra about Britt because they were roommates in Grenada. She was saying to Phaedra, you better ask your pill popping roommate.
Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join three Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers! Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly. Before we start, we just want to wish Bridget L. a very happy birthday. You commented today that you were enjoying your birthday, sipping, and enjoying our videos. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So today we are going to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 17, Season Finale, Game Over. We start out with Lauren and Porsha going over to Phaedra's house. Porsha is talking about how close they were, and Lauren was on the phone with Londi when she passed. I was so surprised to hear that.
Me too.
Porsha said that, you know, they're working on getting like the arrangements together, and like this is a full-time job, and that, you know, they asked Phaedra to help out with like the planning of, you know, that's what she does. That's what
Yeah, it
Phaedra
makes
does.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, yeah. Then we see Angela is at Dr. Wendy's office. That's her therapist since 2017. And they've both been going there this whole time, like her and Charles. And I think it's funny because I remember the very first episode when they talked about it, and he said that's our most expensive monthly bill.
He sure did. He sure did.
So
hey,
good for
real
her.
quick before we get to this with the therapist, I was listening to Bros and Shows, and remember we were talking about how Kelly said you better ask your pill popping roommate?
Yes.
And we were like, who's she talking about, the husband or the mother? She was talking to Phaedra about Britt because they were roommates in Grenada. She was saying to Phaedra, you better ask your pill popping roommate. I never thought of that. And then one of them on Bros and Shows thought the same thing. Because he said, like, who's she talking about, the husband or the mother? And the other one was like, no. She's talking about Britt. She's talking to Phaedra about Britt. And I was like, oh, damn, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. That's good
Just
to
wanted
know.
to clear that up.
Yeah. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
So Angela then starts talking about all the money that she has invested in all these homes, and that she's reduced the price of all of them, and that she needs to trust Charles because he told her not to do this.
Yeah.
And she did it.
And she didn't want to listen to him.
Yep. Listen, I mean, sometimes we do that as wives. Like, we just do whatever we're going to do.
Yeah. And especially, yeah, we do.
I mean,
we don't want them telling us what to do and what not to do.
Right. But it was his money.
It was his money.
It was his money.
Should have a little bit of a say in it.
So Charles also says that, what happened with them trying to bring him down. He's used to that. He's used to being targeted. He's used to people trying to bring him down. Angela told Charles what was said to her at Kelly's event, and Angela's tired of everyone coming for her relationship with Charles. And I don't blame her. I mean,
that has to be exhausting.
It does have to be exhausting.
You can tell. I mean, listen, she's been honest about it. There was infidelity.
Yep.
But they're better. They're going to counseling. They're working it out. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
There is a target, though.
Yes. So Shamea, this is the big night for her. She is showcasing her music. I didn't know that this was going to happen. Did you?
I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know we were going to have 25 different looks. I mean, who said it? Is she going on tour?
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh, like I thought it was going to be like Erica Jane at the, whatever that big bar is.
Yeah.
Like one song, one and done. Like great job, Shamea. But this was a concert.
Yeah.
This was a concert. She needed an opening act.
Yes. Yes. And Drew shows up with shade. She's like, as the resident singer of this group, I'm here to make sure that the microphone is on. I'm like, come on.
Even Britt was shading Shamea. She's like, she talks to her nose. Like, what's your
Yeah.
talent, Britt?
Yeah. So Shamea comes out and she starts singing, and then she had trouble hitting that high note. Did you notice that?
I did. I think everybody noticed that.
And then her next song. And then Angela's like, did everyone receive their invite for the gala? The Charles Oakley Foundation is throwing this gala, and their goal is to feed children who grow up in underserved communities. And their goal for the 100,000 children, which I thought that's so nice. Like,
Absolutely.
I love that he does that. And, it makes sense because every time we've seen him, not every time, but we've seen him cooking. We've seen him in the kitchen. We've seen him with food. Like, he has been like, when we've seen him, he's been around food, right? So, of
Yeah.
course, he wants to feed people.
And he gives back.
And he likes to give back. Right. Shamea thanks all the ladies for being there. She wishes Porsha was there, but, she totally understands since her cousin had passed.
Yeah, she's grieving.
So then Cynthia says that you told Porsha that Shamea has been lying about the things she has said to Porsha. And I was like, ooh.
Told Britt.
Yes, told Britt. And I'm like, ooh, why is she doing that? But she did. So then Britt starts going for Shamea and saying if she was worried about her daughter in Grenada, then, like, why was she doing shots? I'm like, wait, what?
It was fucked up.
What?
She said something about her going to Miami with Kelly, I guess, or she went to Miami or something, I guess, on the way back from Grenada. Like maybe they had a layover.
Yeah.
That was low. But Britt doesn't have kids, so she doesn't realize that's too low. Even what she said to Kelly last week.
Yeah, like you just don't go there. You just
No,
don't
she goes
go there.
too low.
And Shmi is like, you don't need to be talking about my family. You have your own problems with your pill popping husband. So is it her husband that's the pill popper, or is it her? Like, who's the pill popper?
It sounds to me that maybe both of them are being accused of this now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like Britt actually said Shamea was lying about what her daughter was going through when they were in Grenada.
I know. I mean, that makes like what?
Yeah, like we all saw, we see it.
I mean, you would never lie about that.
No,
First of
nobody,
all,
no,
and
you would never lie about that.
You would never lie about that, and we all know that her daughter has been sick. That we all know that.
Right. Kelly's sister comes over.
Okay, and what? I don't know.
They start talking about the new restaurant. But she basically admits, like, she can't open a new restaurant until she's legally divorced because he'd be entitled to some of it.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
she's smart. She's not dumb,
yes.
Kelly.
No, exactly.
So, and then how about that scene with Ralph and Drew when he's playing the piano?
That was so weird. He calls her to
weird.
see if he can come upstairs, right?
Yeah,
and then
I'm
he's there.
telling you.
Yeah. And, he's like, I want to see if we can work this out together. Drew's like, well, in the end, we have these beautiful children. Ralph asks, like, how did we get here? And then he says the judge says, I can't even see the kids Monday through Friday. I can't even take the kids to school or pick them up. Like, that's weird to me.
Very weird.
And Drew says, well, you can always ask. And Ralph says, I think going forward, we can just be cool and be good. And he's like, let's do it. And then they high five each other. What?
It's very weird. I'm telling you, I think that this whole separation with them could be for the show. Could be for a storyline.
It's very weird. My next note was, I'm not really sure how I feel about this because it doesn't even make sense. Because even so much as she says that the kids aren't there, they're at her mother's for the week.
Right.
So they're not there at all. But yet he's going to come upstairs to do a scene. And he's at the reunion, but he's on the opposite couch sitting next to Dennis, which again is odd. That they're
odd
that they're both on the reunion, but we're not going to jump there. I just think this whole thing is weird. Okay. Next, we see, is it Chi-Chi or Cece?
I have no idea.
A producer asked Phaedra if she's considered marriage again, if it was to the right man. And she's like, at this point in her life, like, she's not really interested in marriage. She's never been happier, which I get that. Like, what does she need to get married for? You know?
Right.
She's got everything she needs. She doesn't, just go out and have fun. She then asks him when they're there to go to this Charles Oakley gala. And, because all the ladies are going to be there. This is I have kind of changed my opinion about what I said last week about Phaedra, because it turns out that she's only filmed for 10 days and she was in 5 episodes. She was in 5 episodes and only filmed for 10 days. I heard her talk about this on the Jeff Lewis show. She was on Jeff Lewis. And I'm like, first of all, if she's only filmed for 10 days, how did she get all this together about Angela? And why would she? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that she would do this. And the other
She
thing
had it all together.
but why would she? Why
Because
would
she
she?
knew Angela Oakley was going to be on the show.
But she
She
wasn't
got
going to
this
be on the
shit
show.
together, and
She wasn't going to be on the show. She was only on the show for 10 days.
Phaedra knew that Angela Oakley was going to be on the new season of Atlanta.
I know, but that had nothing to do with her. She wasn't going to be on the show. What did it have to do with her?
She was trying to get back on the show. So she gets all this information and goes to somebody and says, I have this. And I have this person who's willing to go on camera and say it.
Okay, so
I 100% believe that Phaedra did this.
I
believe this is how she got back on the show. She kept making those comments about Charles. I never knew Charles to be married. Okay, you knew him 10 years ago. He's been married for 8. Well, but Charles is a man about town. She couldn't stop talking about Charles. She wanted to get back on the show. She knew Angela was going to be on the show, and she did all of this. I 100% believe it.
I don't. I don't. I mean, last week I was so aggravated with her and I was pissed off at her. And then this week I'm like,
she's a liar. She's a liar. She got caught on television lying about the candy thing.
The other reason I don't, but she admitted it. The other reason I don't think she did this is because, one, she just came back on the show, right? Let's say she's been wanting to come back on the show. Why would she do something?
Because she's not going to get kicked off the show for this.
All right, we're gonna get back to this again because I have more on this later. Okay. Then we see Britt's house. Her mom is there and Mike, and Britt's mom has been living with them for a couple weeks at this point, and she's just starting to get used to it. And she's having her whole family come over and Mike's whole family because they got married during COVID, and the families actually haven't even met each other. A little bit weird, but okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this on national TV.
Right.
So then it is the actual night of the Charles Oakley Foundation, right? We're there already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been in existence since 2017. And their goal that night was to do $50,000. He is hoping that the people that are there are going to help him reach this goal because he wants to, feed 100,000 people.
Right.
So then we see Angela calls up Drew to see where she's at. And she said she's on her way. Of course, she's late because Drew was late to everything, right?
Yeah.
Always, right? Angela lets us know that her and Drew met up with Marcus at the restaurant because she wanted to get to the bottom of this whole situation, right? So they show you them at the restaurant, and Marcus says, Charles has been in my restaurant twice with another woman. And Angela said, well, when was this? And he said, in June. She said, you're a liar. You're a bad liar. My husband was coaching in the Big 3 on national television at the time. Like, how can that be?
Right.
So then Angela asks him directly, I just want to know who put you up to this. Like, who put you at that event? And she looks at him and she's like, well, do you want to write it down? Which I thought was weird. So he shows, I guess he texts her, he shows her his phone, whatever. And then Angela says, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, right? So that's all we have right there. Then we find out, then Porsha shows up. Portia's there, and, they ask her how she's doing because she's still in the process of grieving and, I think, planning the burial of Londi. And she says she's doing okay. She's going to send them all the information. Yeah, they haven't had the funeral, about the, the cousin's funeral. And she says that even though Britt told me that Shamea showed her my text messages, like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, but I'm not dealing with this now. Like, I'll take care of this at another time. Britt says to Porsha, you know, she's mad at me now. And Porsha says, well, how does she even know? And Cynthia told her. That's how
Mhm.
she knows.
Porsche seemed mad.
I think she was mad because, I mean, it really wasn't Cynthia's place. And like, how did she know?
Right.
Right.
Well, she's just doing her jobs.
So Charles gets up and speaks, and he says that, growing up, that there's, he always liked to make sure that people were being fed, like, and cooking and was a big thing for him. So they want to honor this woman. She is the CEO of Meals on Wheels in Atlanta. And they bring her up and they honor her and they honor somebody else. And then Angela's like, I want to bring up one of her new friends on stage and honor her. And she calls up Porsha, which I was very surprised to see.
Yeah.
And she said that she really respects all the work that, Porsha and her cousin Londi were doing with the Grandfather's Foundation and giving back. And so she wanted to honor her, which I thought was
So
nice.
the foundation was called the Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless. So they were also feeding the hungry and homeless. So it was very appropriate that
Oh, I didn't
she
know that.
did that. Yeah, I looked it up because I was
Okay.
just curious to what her
Yeah.
grandfather's foundation was. So it was very
Yeah.
appropriate.
Absolutely, it was appropriate. Yeah, okay, that makes way more sense because I had no idea
Yeah.
what the foundation was. Okay, so good.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, I mean, it was very nice of her to honor Portia, especially with what she was going through, but it just so happened that they were working on a foundation that was very similar to the Charles Oakley
Yes,
Foundation."
yes. So then we see Portia is very emotional and she's crying, and the ladies like go with her to the bathroom, and Shamea starts talking about how she never wanted her friendship with Portia to change once she got on the show, and obviously that's not what happened.
Right.
Angela asks Drew to get Phaedra that they're going to step outside. Okay, and she says to Charles she's going to step outside. And then they announced that they've raised $107,000, which is amazing
Amazing.
since the goal was
Yeah.
50, right?
Yep.
So they knocked that
Amazing.
out of the park. This is what I didn't understand. So she's going to step outside and she's trying to get Phaedra, but then we see them all sitting together on the couch, all of them. So was Phaedra not there? Is that why they were getting Phaedra? It didn't make sense to me. I thought that they were just going to have a conversation with Phaedra, but then they were all sitting together on the couch.
I think she wanted everybody together, Angela. Because she
Okay.
starts out basically saying that I thought it was very odd that this happened in the middle of Kelly's event. Like she kind of addresses Britt, she addresses Kelly.
Yes. Yeah. I was ambushed at the event last week and Kelly went over and then she proposed the toast. And in the middle, Angela says, Kelly, I still find it odd that it would happen in the middle of your event.
I mean, listen, Kelly did say this was a paid event. People could pay to come. But we've been to these events where you pay to go and meet people. We're not doing toasts with champagne with them. We're not
No,
that close to them.
no,
So
no.
it is a little it's a little questionable.
Yeah. Um, and then Angela said, my husband, when I told him what happened, he said, this doesn't add up. Like, who invited him? And she looks over at Britt and she says, you and I didn't have the best relationship. And okay, no, they didn't. And I wasn't certain if you sent someone. And I thought she was like going to point it towards Britt, right? Even though we found out last week it was going to definitely be Phaedra, I still think it could be Britt. I really do.
Why would Britt do that?
Britt is messy.
Yeah, she is, but I don't know. I mean, does she have these kind of connections already? Like, people are gonna
I
go
mean,
to Phaedra and be like, "I have this bit of information." Like,
I don't know. I still think it could be Britt. Britt wanted to get on this show. So when Britt and Kelly came on, there was other people that were auditioning to be on this season and they didn't make it. So she had to do something.
maybe it was one of them. Maybe it was one of them because they were
It,
pissed off that Angela got the spot and they didn't.
I mean, maybe it was one of them. Maybe
I
it
still
was.
do think it was I think let's put it this way. I think Phaedra is very capable of doing this, and I think that Phaedra does have motive to do this. But it could be one of those other women who were just pissed off that Angela got the spot. Because by this point they had been filming for a decent amount of time. So these other women had to know that they weren't going to be featured on the show like Angela was. So it did give them plenty of time to reach out to whoever the hell they had to reach out to.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I also thought it was we'll get there. So Britt said, you said I'm a married woman at the end of the day. I would never want to sabotage you. And Drew and I were trying to get to the bottom of it, and I think she did. They said, who invited him? I don't know. Is he here? So he's there. Marcus is there. She goes to get Marcus, and then Charles realizes what's going on. So then Charles comes over and he's like, no, man, you're not, like, I want you out of here. And, he actually said, you got to leave, get your MFing ass out of here. And Angela's like trying to talk to Charles and saying, no. I brought him here. Like, she's like arguing with Charles about this whole thing, which you would have thought that if she should have told him.
She should have told him. She probably thought he wouldn't even be in the area, but
right.
I loved in the confessional where she's like, I wanted him to clear your name. And Charles is like, nobody needs to clear my name. She's like, well, I wanted him to clear my name.
Angela gets to keep Marcus there. Charles
eventually gets back down.
Yeah. Yes. So Marcus comes in, and it's so funny too, because in the midst of all this is the other thing I wrote down. In the midst of all this going on, like with Charles, like the other ladies are like talking to each other. I don't know if you noticed though, Lamont, Kelly's /publicist /friend is like standing like right there in the mix of it.
So I saw someone and I'm like, oh, he looks familiar, and I forgot who it was. That's who that was?
It was Lamont, and I'm like, that's a little weird, right?
That's questionable too.
Yeah, like that's a little weird. Like why is he right there when all this is going down, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like the game Clue.
Right.
Trying to piece this together.
Yeah. Exactly. It really is. So then So then Marcus comes over and sits down, and he said, there's somebody in the circle of all of you that's not happy with Angela. And they're like, well, who? And he said, Phaedra. And Phaedra's like, what? What are you talking about? And he said, well, Phaedra's the godfather in Atlanta. And, Phaedra being
Which
Phaedra.
is a weird thing for him to say.
Yeah, Phaedra's like a godfather. Marcus said that she controls Atlanta. Marcus is saying,
I don't believe that.
You dropped the tea off to me. She's like, I've never met you. He said, you dropped it off in an envelope. She said, what envelope? And Porsha and Cynthia are like, no, there's no way that she's dropping off an envelope. And this is what really, like, there's no way she's going to put something in writing. There's no way.
I don't think she would put something in writing, and I don't think she would ever do any of this herself. She would have somebody else do it for her.
I don't think she would. I just don't think she would, because it would get back to her. Like, it would get back to her. And I don't think that she's that dumb. Like, this is not a casual thing you say. You have to get somebody else in play to get this envelope to Marcus. That means somebody else has to be in. You have to trust somebody else.
You have to trust Junebug.
Who the fuck is Junebug?
I don't know, but right. I love when Cynthia was like, well, that could be any of us. We all got a cousin named Junebug.
That was so funny. That was so fun. Oh my God, the Junebug thing. I was dying with the Junebug thing. But, like, Junebug, what? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, that's what just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, no, it just doesn't make sense. Porsha is, what did she say? She's the only one.
Phaedra even called Angela and said something about.
I know his name. She said to him, I know his name.
Yeah.
I know where he works. And she gave that information to Angela. So because she gave that information to Angela, Angela's like, well, if you know that, then it must. And if he's saying that it came from you, well, no, that's not really how it works, to be honest with you.
I'm with Angela on this one. There could be other, contenders in this, but I mean, if you're doing the detective work, all signs are pointing towards Phaedra.
I don't know. Porsha's like, she's only been on one trip. Like, why would she have it for Angela? She thinks that she's being framed.
Britt is also framed.
Porsha thinks that Phaedra's being framed.
Yeah, please, Porsha, you lost all credibility.
She's
gonna come. She's gonna ride hard for Phaedra.
Well, I mean, they are freaking Brack.
Right.
Britt is also saying in her confessional that she doesn't think that an attorney would be dumb enough to put something in, have a document and have another person involved in it.
She said that Candy and Todd drugged Porsha and tried to have sex with her. I mean, we all know this. She is dumb, Phaedra. She does do dumb shit.
But she admitted to it. She admitted to
but
it.
She still did it.
I know,
but she still did it.
I don't think she did this. I really don't. I don't. And listen, I don't think she did it. I don't know. I mean, the fact that Angela's trusting Marcus, I mean, to get the information from, and she's saying that because Phaedra gave her the information of his name and where he worked, that it must be her. If it was her, why would she call up Angela and give him the information, knowing that he would out her? That doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. I still, like I said, I still think Phaedra could have done it. But I agree that there are other people who could have done it as well. I'm not totally convinced she did it, but I'm heavily
I don't know.
convinced.
Angela said all roads lead to Phaedra. You know, and then Phaedra said, well, you know, did you tell us that you were in foreclosure? And Angela's like, I'll tell you all the tea about that.
Exactly.
But then Angela, and again, I didn't like this. Angela says to Phaedra, do you let your kids visit their father? And Phaedra's like, yeah, they see him all the time.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Why did she do that? Like
Why
that?
did she do that?
That had nothing to do with anything, really.
Because let's say Phaedra did do this. She's coming after your marriage. She's not going after your kid. Like, these women really got to stick to lay off the kids rule. All of them, all the franchises across the board. Stop with the kids. These kids did not ask to be on this show.
Right. And they're not getting paid.
They're not getting paid. You know, you can't just leave them alone.
Yeah. Kelly even says, like leave the kids out of this. And then in the confessionals, Shamea and Kelly are both saying that Britt is the prime suspect. So they both think it's Britt. Then we start to see like the ending. So after 3 years, Kelly finally closed the doors on her marriage. In September of 2024, she's preparing to open her new doors to her Sandy Springs Nana's Chicken and Waffles location sometime in spring or summer 2025. And she will be double checking the guest list for the grand opening. Then we see Britt gets up. This is the other reason. So Britt gets up and walks out after Shamea said to her, you threatened people with a gun. And like, I don't know, that whole thing with Britt and the gun in the beginning and the way that she walked out and her and Mike are like, you know, like, let's take the mics off. Yeah, like something. I don't know. I think Britt is a prime suspect. Britt is using her clean slate to open up a new insurance agency. She's also working hard to release her Bare and Naked so that the masses can be snatched just like her. Yeah, okay. Drew's album, I Did It To Me, was released in March of 2025. While her music career is on a high, her relationship with Ralph is still on a low, and he continues to reside in his basement apartment in the sky with an end to the divorce nowhere in sight. So, yeah.
There's something.
There's something going on
not
there.
adding up here.
Something. Yeah. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Something's not adding up. Baby Shiloh continues to make progress. She has a new surrogate and hopes to welcome a baby boy soon. Her single, Never Had, was released in March of 2025, and she hopes that listeners don't talk over it this time. So, and I told you that I think it was on the after show. Oh, I didn't watch the after. Oh, yeah. Did I watch the after show? No, I didn't watch.
I did not.
I didn't watch this after show. Darn it. Anyway, I didn't have time. But on the last after show, she said that she was any day. Hopefully we'll find out at the reunion.
Oh, so they're that close to having a son.
Well, we'll see what happened because she was finding out on the last after show, which they filmed prior to the reunion. So maybe at the reunion.
Okay.
We'll find out something. Right. Phaedra's booked and busy and adding more jobs to her resume until her boys retire her. Meanwhile, her chocolate prince, Cece Chichi, is still satisfying her sweet tooth. Angela sold 3 of her houses, but two have unfortunately been lost. However, she is staying cool under pressure with her next business venture. I don't know what this is. It said Fangie, Fan-GIE, a line of fans. Is that a real thing?
I have no idea. I meant to look that up and I totally forgot.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but
I don't either. What is it? FAN-?
Yeah. And then it said no word on when she and Charles will renew their vows. I recommend that you don't. It's like
don't do it, man. It's the kiss of death. It's like
don't do it.
Tattooing their name on you.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I agree.
Got a lot of opinions tonight.
Is it a
fangirl?
I don't know if it's a real thing. We'll have to wait and find out.
It's not. I mean, it's not coming up in Google. There's no AI explanation for it.
Okay, then it must not be real. Then
it must not be real. AI knows everything.
Yeah, they do. Not
exactly. I'm over the whole AI thing, but obviously it's here to stay. So
Yes, it is. 5 months later, Porsha and Simon's house is now just Porsha's home. Porsha's so happy that she's finally able to film in her home. She said they still have to figure out how the split's going to happen, and we get to see her home, which, by the way, is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
I mean, that home is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Diane comes over to Porsha's house, and she's talking about how she talked to her attorney and that she's going to have a date for the divorce, and that she has not seen his face or spoken to him in over 10 months. And she's hoping that when she gets in front of the judge in a month, the judge will say the prenup is enforced. And if that's the case, everything is split equally. And, she feels great. Then it says Simon was detained while entering the country in February 2025, leaving the divorce on ice, ICE. But we do know that the divorce is final. And I guess the prenup was upheld because she has the house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she still has the house. We saw her photo shoot. By the way, did you see that photo shoot where she was doing the Angela Bassett? So good.
good.
I mean, no one does a divorce photo shoot like these housewives, right?
I know. Ashley
Right?
Darby. Yeah,
Yes.
this one was great. I love that movie, Waiting to Exhale. It's one of my
I
favorite
know.
movies.
I know. It was
Oh,
good.
I got the chills. That was a great photo shoot.
It really was. I didn't see the after show, but I did watch What Happens Live. Did you watch that?
No, because I really can't stand Phaedra. I have
Okay.
a hard time watching these women, so I had to turn off Larsa and I had to turn off Phaedra.
Okay, so I will give you the intel on this one. So it
Please
was
do.
Phaedra and Ariana. And by the way,
That's right.
I love Ariana. I'm loving
She's
her.
coming off great. I'm not watching the show. I'm not watching it, people, because Gia Judice is on it. Take her out of it.
She's not
I
even on it
probably
that
would have watched
she's
it.
really not even on it that much, I'll be quite honest with you. Of all of them, she's got the smallest part so far. But anyway.
And I thought I wouldn't want to watch it because of Ariana too, but it sounds like she's coming off fantastic on this show.
Love Ariana. Really do.
Good. And she and Riley seem extremely close, which I love.
Well, we're going to get there. So Hudson's also there, her boyfriend. So Andy starts out asking Phaedra if she is Junebug and if she sent Marcus there to ruin Angela's marriage. She said, make it make sense. Like, I've been gone for so many years. Like, why would I come back and do something like this? When would I have even had time to do it? I agree. And
I don't.
All those other things, I don't think it's Phaedra.
I really think this is how she got back. All right.
Ariana says
I
she
said my
thinks,
piece.
all right. Ariana says she thinks Britt did it. And because she said, and Phaedra said she didn't have any beef with Angela. She had no beef with Angela. Phaedra said the blow up between Kelly and Britt, because then they start talking about, went from 0 to 100 really quick. And they didn't even show most of it when they were doing at Phaedra's event. Andy asked Ariana, this was filmed a year ago, where are you and Riley today? And she said, she's my best friend. I was like, oh, I love that.
Cute.
She's my best friend. Like, they talk every day. And she's grateful for the show for bringing her friendship back together. And she loves New York and she can't imagine going back to Atlanta. And she's thriving there. And I'm so happy for her.
Well, does she have a job there?
Well, her and her boyfriend are starting a fashion line. She wants to start a fashion line. She really has a love for fashion. So that's what she's going to be doing. I mean, she has been supporting herself by being a brand ambassador. And
okay, that's
yes.
what I was wondering. Like how, I mean,
yeah,
obviously if her boyfriend is wealthy, then she could be living off of him, but it doesn't seem like she is. It seems like,
well, I mean, the apartment that she did wind up getting is $10,000 a month, and it's very nice. But $10,000 a month, really, for a very nice apartment in New York City is not crazy, because New York is crazy expensive.
Exactly.
So then Andy asked Ariana, what was her mom's reaction that you outed her for taking money from you on Next Gen? And she said, I want to clarify this. Everybody wants it to be just my mother. This is a partnership. I gave my parents notice that I'm going to be telling the truth, my truth in my story. It's not just her mother. It was both of them.
Right.
Andy asked Ariana, did you figure out how much money was spent by them? And Ariana said, no, and I don't really want to know. Like, she's so mature.
Not knowing.
Yeah, she's so mature.
And you know what? Even if she does know, just keep saying that.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly not anybody else's business.
Yeah, Andy's really, this is why I'm telling you, I really like her. Andy asked, does your mom ask you to purchase specific things? Ariana said, the only time my mom asks me for money is when she needs to pay bills or it's something for the kids, and then she pays me back when she can. Fair enough. Andy says there was rumors about your mom's gambling. Is there anything you'd like to say about that? Ariana says no.
Good for her. Good for
Exactly.
her.
Yep. She said, I'm not
Why does she have to answer for her mother?
She says, no, I'm not talking about that. And Phaedra's sitting next to her, sipping her drink. I'm just like,
That's funny.
it was funny.
That's
It was funny. And I'm telling you, I really, and Phaedra watches the show too. And she's a fan of it too. Andy asks, does this stuff happen with Brielle as well? Ariana said, the taking of our money and stuff. And he says, yes. And Ariana said,
What does she do?
I don't know what Brielle's doing. We haven't seen her. I mean, she's not on the show. We don't know. I know she's got a boyfriend for a long time too.
Yeah.
She's probably an influencer and a brand ambassador as well.
I think that, I mean, she moved out to LA, didn't she? Wasn't she trying to get like on E! Channel or something?
It was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
It was. I don't know what she's doing now. Then Andy says to Ariana, your mom's your best friend. We see it later on in the season. How do you reconcile with that? Ariana said that you should never ruin your relationship with your family over money. You know, God blesses us with more money. I can always make more money. I'm just happy to have my mom and my best friend.
Well, the thing is that now she's in a position where she does know the truth and she can not give her money if she doesn't want to. Or if her mother says, your brothers and sisters need this, she can say, okay, I will go do that for them myself. Like she, you know what I mean?
I just think she knows. And listen, she's not holding it against her. Like, she's moved past it. It is what it is. This is something that happened. And she's not blaming just her mother. It was both of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's been with her mom. She knows who Kim is. She knows who
Right.
her mom is. Right?
Right.
And it's her mom.
Right.
I so like how she handles this whole situation. I like how she responds to Andy. I think she is so mature. I think that she is like so much more mature than Gia. And I feel like she has gone through just as much as Gia has. I mean, no, her father wasn't deported and her mom didn't go to jail, but I mean, the things that go on in the press with Croy and her mom and just so many things, right?
Public humiliation.
Right. Right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. She seems like a very solid, and it's amazing to me that Kim has a daughter who's so well adjusted. I mean,
Yes.
Gia is she's just a Teresa 2.0. I mean, let's face it. You know, Ariana does not seem like she is like that.
It's funny because Andy did say that I feel like, you know, he loves watching them too. He's like, I love watching. He goes, and they're all like their mothers, but in a different way. And I kind of agree with him on that. They are all like their mothers, but in a different way. Like Brooks is a lot like Meredith, but in a different way. Like, I really like Brooks now. I never liked him when he would be on the cameo because that wasn't his
I know, he
space.
seems more likable on this show.
He
But again, that comes down to Meredith not really being a genuine person and showing us anything that's really going on in her life. So Brooks is just there as a,
yeah.
just
prop.
like a prop. Thank you. Exactly.
I don't like to say that, but yeah, prop. Because also Brooks does say in probably the most recent episode that his brother and sister are in New York. He's in New York and his parents are in New York all the time. He's like, they're all together all the time. And he's like, most parents, like their kids move away and, you know, then they're on their own. He's like, but my parents, like they followed us. Like we can't get rid of them. So that
is
also
his
tells
sister on the show as a cast member?
She's not on as a cast member, but she is on the show. She's not she's not a full cast member, but she's on the show. And she's so cute. She's such a cute girl.
Did you see Meredith DJing?
I did. I think it might have been for Pride. I don't know.
I'm just not going to say anything.
Okay. That's good. Don't say anything. So then the next question Andy asks, how is your relationship with Croy these days? Ariana said, it goes in waves. It kind of depends what motion he's filing this week in this insane divorce. He will always be my dad. I think a lot of this is coming from anger. And again, it's just so intelligent, so well spoken. Andy asks her, what's the biggest misconception? She said, the biggest misconception is people think that they're getting back together. And she said that, no, that's not happening.
Imagine not.
No. Andy asks another shady question. If you have memories of Big Papa, why would he
even ask that?
And she says she does. Next question he asks her, where does your mom stand with Chet Hanks? Do you know that whole story, Chet?
Oh, yeah, Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah.
They met on the reality show.
Yeah, she said,
House of Villains?
yeah, she said, was it House of Villains? Whatever the show
I
was.
don't know. I don't know, actually.
No, it wasn't House of Villains. It was something else. Anyway, The Surreal Life, I think it was. She said, I don't know. I know that they talk now and then, which is fine.
Why is he asking her so many questions about her mom? That would annoy the shit out of me if I were her.
I know, but she just, like I said, she
She
just
took it like a
handles,
champ.
she really did. She really did.
Good for her.
And then the next thing was, did he ask her? I think he did. He said, yeah, where is she at now? Like what she's doing. She said, she just got a new house. It's in the Atlanta suburbs and she loves it. And honestly, that's all I wrote down. I didn't even write down anything else more about Phaedra because he was just really, and I was really excited to hear what Ariana had to say because, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm really enjoying her on this show. I'm really enjoying Brooks on the show, and Riley is amazing. They're really, they're standout. They really are standout. Like they are going to be successful. They are going to be successful. Riley's going to be that DJ. She is.
Yeah.
That's what she wants
Yeah.
to do. She's got her NYU degree. Go be the
Listen,
DJ.
if Kyle Cook can do it, Riley, you can. Keep on keeping on, girl.
You know, Kyle Cook was at the headliner this past Saturday.
I saw that.
Yeah. So
Not interested.
that's all I
Now,
have for
Paulie D comes to the headliner. I'm in.
No, we can't go. We're too old. We can't go
Come
to the
on.
We can't. We can't do it. We can't.
That was where Eric and I went on our first date.
Okay,
Pete and
and how
Elda's and
Yeah.
headliner.
We can't do it. We're too old. I know. It is what it is. Sorry.
It's very disappointing because I
I
feel like
know.
we could be there.
I mean, we can go, but we will stand out.
We'll look ridiculous. All right.
We can't go. We can't. Sorry. All right, so that's all I have. I am looking forward to the reunion. I know this whole Phaedra thing is going to come out at the reunion about
Well, it looks like
Angela.
she and Angela go at it.
It does look like they go at it.
Yeah.
I mean, Phaedra is back. She's already said it. She's back and she's filming.
They're already filming?
That's weird though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Are
this
they?
is not that she's going to get kicked off for
Maybe
it, but
they're not filming, but she said that she's back.
yeah. Well,
And
yes.
Cynthia said she was back also. Not that Cynthia
Mhm.
was back, but that Phaedra was back.
Right.
Because Cynthia hadn't gotten the letter yet. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with Ralph. And it does seem like Phaedra kind of has a thing for Ralph. Didn't you see that? Didn't you see that she was kind of like,
She made a comment. I mean, listen, I think Phaedra just likes to call out handsome men when she sees it.
well, she definitely does. And Ralph is,
Yeah.
he's a good looking man.
He's a good looking man. He needs to put his shirt back on because
I mean,
it's a little
Apollo's a
cringy.
good looking man. Phaedra does pick good looking men.
I'll tell you what, Apollo
Yes.
was fine. Apollo was a good looking man
Yeah.
of all the Atlanta house husbands.
I'm
But
try-
I'm a big Charles Oakley fan too.
There you go.
Yeah.
They couldn't be any more opposite, too.
I know. Nobody else stands out, but I'm sure there were others too.
So I did hear, maybe this was yet another reason. I did hear Phaedra on Jeff Lewis, and Jeff Lewis was talking to her about he wants to go into the funeral home business with her. And, you know, Jeff Lewis was being Jeff Lewis, and he wants her to get the diamond machine where you turn your loved ones into diamonds. And,
I
you
didn't
know,
know that was a thing.
no, it's a thing. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm choosing to believe it's not Phaedra. Until you can show me hard evidence, that's where I stand. I know I'm a flip-flopper. I admit it.
We all do it from time to time. You're allowed.
Okay, thanks.
I firmly believe that Phaedra is capable and would have motive to do this. But I agree there are definitely some other contenders. So listen, it is interesting to me that it was talked about on social media prior to it coming out on the episode. That typically does not happen. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a bombshell at the reunion. And somebody
Maybe.
is going to say it wasn't Phaedra, it was this person, and show proof. That would be something.
That would be something. You're right, because, I mean, there was a Carlos King, like, came out. It full came out before.
Absolutely. And he knows better.
Yep.
Somebody said though that he did it because he was salty because when he said, I never heard this and I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that somebody said on social media that he got fired along with Phaedra when that all came out about her lying about Candy and Todd drugging Porsha because he was in on it. I don't know if that's true, but I heard somebody say that.
It could
that's
be.
why he got fired.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be. I'm gonna look into
S
that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's look into that for the next
Yeah, because I
episode.
had
So
never heard that before.
no, I didn't, and I honestly didn't know that he got fired. I thought he left on his own.
So did I. I
All
never
right.
heard he got fired. I never heard any of that.
Yeah.
So, and I forget where. I mean, it had to be somebody on TikTok or something.
I will
So,
also say before we end this, thought that the ladies' dresses for the gala were way more appropriate than their reunion dresses.
totally agree. I thought everybody looked great. I thought Shamea had a little bit of a Little Red Riding Hood look with pink, not red, but whatever. The hood
Yeah.
thing, I know that was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
But I did think that everybody looked really nice at the Foundations gala, but the reunion looks,
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
No, me neither. Me neither. All right. So that's it for Atlanta. Until next time, thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe, give us 5-star reviews. Bye.
Bye.